Hey everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. For those of you that don't know, my name is Miguel. I created this YouTube channel for fitness and finance content, and most recently I've been using TikTok to boost my finance content, and I blew up. So around a week ago I only had about 1,500 followers on TikTok, and now I'm at like 24k. Today I'm going to be answering a lot of questions that I get on TikTok that I haven't been able to answer because the replies for it are only like 15 or 60 seconds long, and the questions kind of require a little bit longer of a response, and I like to be more detailed, especially because there are a lot of questions about beginning investing, and I really want to make sure that I can be the most beneficial for y'all. But before we start that video, be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Feel free to comment down below if you have any questions about anything, or I haven't answered a question that you've asked already. I'm going to do my absolute best to reply to all your comments. And the off chance that you're coming to my YouTube channel not from TikTok, basically I started a series on TikTok where I started doing how much you need to own of a specific stock to get $1,000 of passive income every single month. I would choose a stock, I would calculate how much you need to get $1,000 of passive income every single month, how many shares you need to own, and how much money ultimately it would cost you. And that series on TikTok blew up, and I've been getting so many questions from that. So if you're new to my channel, you haven't seen me from TikTok, you're just here through YouTube, that's just kind of my background and what's happened recently to me in the past week. So that series has blown up, and this is me doing my best to answer as many questions as I can. Thank you for your continued support on TikTok, on YouTube, on all of my social media platforms. I really appreciate it. So let's hop into this video. So on one of my most recent videos that really blew up, it's at like 401,000 views right now. Underscore wasted youth said, help me understand, how is it passive? How do I know I will get a dividend? What is a dividend? So let's answer the first question first. All that a dividend is a company paying its shareholders, aka when you buy a stock, you become a shareholder. A company will either do it on a monthly, a quarterly, sometimes biannually, or annually in some rare cases. It's not too complicated. That's all that a dividend is basically. It's a company paying its shareholders its profits. So basically it's saying thank you for believing in us, and we're going to give you some money back from our profits. Also, the second part to that question, how do I know I'll get a dividend? Basically, a company will do an earnings report. On whatever platform that you use, typically you'll get an email because you're a shareholder. It'll tell you that an earnings report is coming up and that they're going to be sharing that dividend with you. So underscore Milky B says, I'm just so lost, I'm so confused, I'm really trying to get into this. Well, thank you. I really appreciate that you're trying, but it's not too complicated. All I'm doing is calculating how much money you need to get $1,000 of passive income every single month. Paris, not France, said, I need to be on Stock Talk. Welcome. Please stay well. QBGE Mini 96 says, making actual income from dividends alone is impossible if you aren't already wealthy already. Ticker doesn't matter. You actually are 100% right. It is hard to live off dividends, but you gotta start somewhere, and I think that the sooner that you start, the sooner that you reap the rewards of having passive income. It doesn't matter if you have a $5,000 portfolio or a $100 portfolio. The fact that you're getting passive income is amazing, and I think everyone should be getting passive income, even if it's only $1 a month, or whatever the case may be. I want my platform to be educational. I want people to be encouraged to start dividend investing, because ultimately, no matter how well we're doing, we could always use some extra passive income. So, Mugrili, I'm sorry if I got that name completely wrong. Okay, wait, should I do dividend stocks instead of a savings account? I think it's amazing that you kind of have that mindset. Personally, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but the difference between a high yield savings account, which you can probably get like a 2 or 3%, and the stock market, you're gonna get about 6 to 7% if you're safely investing in blue chip dividend stocks, as well as getting those dividends back on top of it. I think it's personally well worth it to have a safe dividend investing portfolio versus having a savings account. You know, granted, I still have a savings account because I'm specifically saving to buy a house, but like you said, having 6 months of living expenses aside liquid is perfect. Diversification is key, but the fact that you understand that is a great step in the right direction. Also, I absolutely love when I get these comments. Serena Duh says, I absolutely love this series so much. I can't thank you enough for all the love and support that I get. Again, thank you guys so much. Let's get to the next question. Okay, so no.13 Audi. I'm sorry if I'm getting these names wrong. I'm trying my best here. But they ask, hey, I just got into dividend investing. Do you have any recommendations? So I replied, when I first started, I went straight into ETFs and REITs. For me, this is where I felt most comfortable, knowing that a REIT and an ETF are essentially a combination of a bunch of different other stocks like the S&P 500. The SPHD ETF is one that I first started with, and I felt comfortable because It was a more aggressive, condensed version of the S&P 500. I believe that SPHD is about 50 stocks in one. REITs are very similar as well. They're just condensed versions of like the S&P 500, and a lot of them are rated pretty high on the dividend safety score. So that's kind of how I went into investing for the first time. I looked at a bunch of ETFs and REITs, and I said, what is the safest and where can I put my money in? I also started with a little amount, like $50, where my tolerance level grew to a point where now I'm investing about $200 to $300 a week, and I feel comfortable. That's my tolerance level currently. But again, everyone has to build that up, and I think it's important to start with something a little bit safer like ETFs or REITs. So I have a couple of great questions coming up here. Worst tryhard _ 27 says, very educational, thank you very much. No thank you. I have a question. How do you get their dividend payout on annual pay? So I wasn't really sure what you meant by this, but I'm assuming you're asking how you get your dividend payout. So basically, whatever platform that you use, you're gonna get a notification saying that the company that you had invested into just had a shareholders meeting and they're getting ready to pay their dividends out. Personally, on my platform, I'm currently using Robinhood, but it has an expected dividend payout versus an actual dividend payout, where it tells you what they're expected to give but what they actually give you. So every platform is different, every company is different, but also I think it's very important to remember that a company can stop paying their dividends at any given time. They don't have to give any shareholder any warning. They can just cut their dividends. A great example of this is Disney. So when the pandemic hit, Disney cut their dividends completely. So even though Disney is a multi-billion-dollar company, they still cut their dividends because they felt like they were not going to have enough to pay out their shareholders. So Melissa, I'm not going to try to pronounce the last name, I'm sorry too, said, can you explain how you are doing the math? I'm not understanding how you make $50 a month in dividends. So for this particular video, I changed it to $50 a month of passive income because it felt more attainable and people were requesting it. So to get $50 a month of passive income, first you gotta figure out which stock it is. Then you gotta figure out how much they pay per share annually. So once you figure out the annual dividend payout for one share, you can divide that one share by the money that you want. So for $50 a month of passive income, you have to multiply $50 by 12 to get 600. You take 600 and then you divide it by the annual dividend payout for one share to get how many shares you need. After you figure out how many shares you need, you then multiply it by the current price. But the thing is, the current price is always going to fluctuate up and down just like the market. But regardless, in my videos, that's how I break it down. That's what I'm telling when I have the spreadsheet out and I'm pointing to certain things and talking about it. I hope that clarifies how I get the number amount that I'm looking at when I do my videos. She also asked, which stocks pay the most dividends? Typically, the stocks that pay the highest dividends have the highest dividend yield, but that's not always the case, because if a stock is below $10 but it has a high dividend yield, you're not going to get as much. You're not going to get as much versus a stock that's worth $200 but giving a 3% dividend yield or a lower dividend yield. So it all kind of depends on which stock you're investing into. So James on _ says, so why you no rich yet? Good question. Good question. No, but I plan not to be rich, quote unquote, but I do want to be wealthy, and the only way to do that is to create this safe dividend investing portfolio that I have right now currently. So Lars Grooms 1220 says, what's the cheapest one to invest into to get $1,000 of passive income every single month? So far in this series, the one that's the cheapest to invest into to get $1,000 of passive income every single month is CIM. You only need $101,000 invested to get $1,000 of passive income every single month. But this is not the safest dividend stock to invest into. So _ AOT asks, woman here, having a hard time getting my husband into investing. Sweaty face. Any tips? So I had already replied to her on TikTok, as you can see. But I think it's really important to understand that humans are very emotional creatures, and I think that the more that you're attached to a specific company and that you invest into, the more you're going to care about it, and the less likely you are going to be to pull out of that company when the stock goes up or down and it fluctuates. So for example, I am invested into Apple. I think Apple is going to go nowhere but up in the next couple of years. So regardless of if Apple is going up or down, I'm still going to be investing into Apple, and I think that is the difference between safe dividend investing and I think it's really important to set your emotions aside and understand that I'm investing into this stock because I believe in this stock and not because I just want to make money. So Trina says, what is the best deal you've seen? I don't know if there's a best deal that I've seen, but I think there's a lot of good companies to look out for that are under $50 right now. There's Pembina, there's EPD, there's AT&T. There's a lot of companies that are pretty safe on the dividend safety score that are under $50, so it's a pretty good value. So 680 Lady says, what's your favorite dividend stocks? Currently, my favorite ones are Apple, Microsoft, AT&T, Verizon, and I think SPHD. I think SPHD is probably going to be my favorite for a very long time because it's the first stock I ever invested into. It's also an ETF. So I think SPHD is probably going to remain my favorite for a very long time. But AT&T is a pretty close second. So I've answered quite a bit of questions already. The rest of the questions that are left are kind of more relative to the series on TikTok. So I think I'm just going to keep those on TikTok. But I went through a lot of my videos. I'm sorry if I didn't get to your question. Feel free to leave it in the comment section down below and I will do my absolute best to answer it. Again, thank you for all the love and support that you guys give me. I really appreciate it and I'm so incredibly grateful. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.